Now that the first round of the 2023 NHL Draft is over, I can say it is not at all what we expected. There's a lot of players that slipped, there's a lot of players that were taken very, very high where they were not supposed to, and there's some that were just like completely out of the blue. We can say that for sure. We're going to be going over all the stuff that happened in this first round. Some players, we picked some in particular that we think were a bit of a stretch, some people that slipped. But the first thing we're going to start off here with is that there was absolutely no trades in this first round for picks or players at all. I figured that you maybe see one team or two teams try to move in to the first round, and they've tried apparently, but nothing happened. Everybody was content with where they were and what the picks they had. Kind of crazy that there was none because, the few teams, that's a very stacked draft. We've been saying it all along, and they want to move in. They just didn't get the opportunity to. But that's pretty much what we're going to go over in this video. We got the picks. There was no trades. We're going to go over the picks that we think were a bit crazy at first glance. We're going to start off here probably with the obvious one. It was number 2 overall. That's Leo Carlson and not Adam Fantilli. We made a video about should the Anaheim Ducks select Matvei Michkov over Adam Fantilli. And they selected someone over Adam Fantilli, but it was not Matvei Michkov. It was Leo Carlson. Now, I'm going to say this. It was a very big surprise, but it does make more sense in my opinion. Leo Carlson, I would say, is the more well-rounded forward, more well-rounded on defense, less offense than Adam Fantilli, but the Anaheim Ducks do have enough offense, which I think is the smart idea to take Leo Carlson here. Which is just, it's you don't want to move down the pick. You don't want to move down with risk of losing either two of those guys. They're too good to do that. But I think it is the better pick. Now, what do you think about Leo Carlson going at number 2?
I think I'm not entirely shocked. They have Pat Verbeek over there in Anaheim, and he worked with Steve Yzerman in Detroit. So it's a very Steve Yzerman pick for Anaheim, and I absolutely love it. He's going to be I think he's going to be a number 1 franchise center. I really do.
Yeah, and along with him and Zegras, Troy Terry, Mason McTavish, that team's going to be very good in a couple of years. They're already getting good now, but I think Leo Carlson fits the need more than Adam Fantilli, even though he may be the better player. It's more important that Anaheim has a solid defensive forward as well as someone who can put up points on offense. But with that as well, is Adam Fantilli's going number 3 to the Columbus Blue Jackets, which I think is an absolute perfect fit for the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Yeah, it is. I agree.
He's going to play with a healthy Patrick Laine, Johnny Gaudreau, and soon-to-be starters David Jiricek, Kent Johnson, Cole Sillinger, Kirill Marchenko. This team is looking really good, which I don't think a lot of people are thinking at this point. And they went out and got Damon Severson and Ivan Provorov as well, which are 2 huge additions on the back end of this team. Now, if they can only figure out, goalie, just some depth and stuff, I think this team could be a very big surprise to many people.
Yeah.
Adam Fantilli at number 2 was what was supposed to happen. 1-2, Connor Bedard, Adam Fantilli, but getting Fantilli at 3, I think that the Columbus Blue Jackets were just ready before the pick was made. They wanted to go up as soon as Leo Carlson got off the stage, but this is the right pick to make it number 3. Very lucky they got him there. It's a perfect fit, again, I think, for the Columbus Blue Jackets. I know. What do you think about this one as well? Not much to say about it other than that it's the right fit.
Well, I think they were jumping for joy when they seen Leo Carlson go too, right? But, I just want to talk about the young core that Columbus has established now. Guys, even guys you didn't mention, Jordan Dumais just put up an absolutely insane year in Halifax in the Q. And Denton Mateychuk over there on, I think it's Moose Jaw. Two pretty good players that they're going to be their core. So I'm Columbus looks really, really scary.
Yeah, no, they're in a good position as well now because you got to think Adam Fantilli won't be there this season. Still got to do college and everything, and then come to the Columbus Blue Jackets when this team is even better than it is now. So it's going to look scary, like you said. It's going to be very exciting to see what they can do after being garbage for the past few years. But we're going to go on to another one here now, which I think is probably a very big reach. Not the biggest reach we've seen in this first round, but a very, very big reach, which is Dimitri Simachev at number 6. He was projected probably around the 20s in this draft. But it was pretty obvious, I think, that they wanted David Reinbacher, who went 5th to Montreal. And they were kind of poised to take a defenseman, which they did in Dimitri Simachev. 6'4", one of the bigger players in this draft. But if they really wanted to take Dimitri Simachev, I don't think that anybody was going to take him near that range in the draft. I think they probably could have moved down to, even if they wanted to, the teens. Just to get, a little bit of confirmation that they will get him where he was supposed to go around 2019. That's where I've seen him most on most mock drafts. And, Axel Sandin Pellikka got taken around there as well, too. That's another star defenseman who you could see didn't get taken very early compared to Dimitri Simachev. So I do think that the Arizona Coyotes probably could have waited on Dimitri Simachev, moved down a bit, taken that pick later on. But Noah, what do you think about this one? They obviously wanted David Reinbacher, who went to your Montreal Canadiens, but what do you think about Simachev at number 6?
Well, I don't think you can go wrong with a defensive defenseman, but I also agree with you. I think they definitely could have moved down. You get a guy who's compared to Jacob Slavin, which is by no means any slouch at all, right? Like he's a good fit on the back end over there in Carolina, and to get a guy like that on a up and coming Arizona team, it's nice, I got to say.
Yeah, it is. Well, he's going to be over in a few years again. Same thing, playing in Russia. You got to wait over there, wait and play over there before he comes here. So we won't know what the Arizona Coyotes situation is like by the time he gets over. But yeah, no, it's the thing where there's only a few defensemen in this first round. They wanted a defenseman. You got to think that their asking price to move down was a lot, way too much for teams to be willing to pay it. So I guess they wanted to take their guy, just like Montreal did. They knew that they wanted David Reinbacher, so they couldn't afford to move down. You had to stay where they were. But, it's all you can do when you're in that situation where you need someone like this. You want that pick for sure, and you can't afford to move down. So, it makes sense when you're looking back on it, but in the moment, we're definitely like, why did this happen? Same thing as a few other people we'll mention later in this video. But now we're going to go to probably the biggest one of this, who slipped to number 7, Matvei Michkov, went to Philadelphia. Now, I gotta say, Philadelphia kind of seemed like the only team he wanted to go to, but it seemed like he had some very good interviews. You could see how happy Danny Briere was on the stage when he was talking to him when they drafted him. The same thing, though, with Simachev. You don't know the situation he's going to be in. They were interviewing his agent in the stands when he was drafted, saying his goal is to play hockey. That's what he wants to do, and he's committed to come over to the NHL. So that is that's a reassuring quote from his agent there. It is a nice sign for a Philadelphia Flyers fan. But I gotta say, I really like this fit as well. The Flyers, they're in a bit of a situation right now that they're in a rebuild, we'll say that. But he is going to be over in a few years, and I think this team could look very good in a few years. It's a nice fit, going to be a very, very big star on the Philadelphia Flyers team, which I do. I'm excited to see what he actually does in this NHL draft class when it comes to they're all in their prime and stuff. Because I think he still will be second or third best in this draft. We'll say that for sure. But no, what do you think about Matvei Michkov at 7?
Well, I first off, how about those Flyers jerseys? Absolutely love them with the new jerseys. Yeah. He looks awesome in a Flyers jersey. But I think you said it best. I truly think when all said and done in 10 years, when we look back down the road, I think Matvei Michkov will be the second best player from this draft. That's no knock to Leo Carlsson or Adam Fantilli. I think they're phenomenal players as well. But I just think Matvei Michkov, if everything didn't go on over in Russia, I won't get into any of that. But I think if they could be able to send scouts over and send people over to watch him, I think he would have won number 2. I really do.
Yeah, no, one thing to note there, what you said too, all the Russian players that were drafted in this were drafted by video. There was no in-person scouts for a majority of these players, unless they're playing over here. But all the KHL, MHL, those ones, they're all just video scouted. So it's a very big risk in the situation they're being in right now. Just taking them, you got to hope what you can do best for them is just pretty much pray that they're going to plan out to what they've been like on their video, which I assume most of them will. They're all great players, but that's pretty much the Russian situation. Is very tough to be in this draft. But with the final first-round pick here, which I think is the biggest stretch in this draft, we're going to go over into it, though. There's a few reasons why I think this is the case, but it's Easton Cowan, taken at 28 by the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, he was projected like a second or third rounder, but I think the reason that the Leafs took him is they don't have a second, third, or fourth round pick. So they had to scout very deep, I want to think, and they wanted to take their guy at 28, knowing that there's still going to be a lot of crucial draft picks in the second and third round, and it would be very tough to move up to get those picks. They don't want to really move anything. They don't want to take a risk of, letting him slide. This is their guy. They wanted him. So I think that's why they took him at 28. He's Travis Konechny is his NHL comparison. Pretty close. He's the same height, pretty close to the same weight. Same play style, played with London Knights this year, 53 points in 68 games. I do like him looking deeper into this player, but I can see in the moment a lot of people would not be happy about this pick, not really knowing who he is. But I do think that it is the right move to make. You know, there's probably a few people that they could have taken, but this is who the Leafs wanted. This is who they got. This is who they were willing to take the reach on. And, you know, you got to trust them. You got to trust the scouts in this one. You can't really say, no, they're the ones looking at the player. They're the ones who think, this guy is right for us. If we don't want to move these picks to move up or down, this is what we're going to have to do. And, I think it's a good pick for the situation. We'll have to see, though, when he actually gets to playing and stuff, how it turns out. But this is a reach, but it's a necessary reach for the Toronto Maple Leafs. That's what I got to say about this. Now, what do you think about it?
Well, they should have called the fire department to help get him down from that high up in the rafters, because he was walking and walking and walking, and it felt like forever. But, you know, he's a scrappy player. You know, he like the comparison to Travis Konechny fits absolutely great. You know, I mean, looking at a couple highlights of him and seeing a couple clips of him, he looks like a really scrappy player, and I think, you know, those guys are very valuable in the league today. So I got to say, I like the pick. I do think they could have probably traded the first maybe for a late second, or an early second and a late third, something along the lines of that. But overall, I like the player.
Yeah, no, it's a nice pick to see. Bit early, but it'll be worth it, I think, for the Toronto Maple Leafs and the fans, that when they'll see him play and stuff, it'll be all good. But there's a lot of people who are also not drafted in this first round that we'll not be going into in this video, because it'll just be way too long as the draft class is so stacked. They've been taken mid-recording now. What are we in here? We're in about the fourth round. So it's going to be a lot of players that we're going to be having to go over another time. A lot of players who are just, dropped a lot out of the first round going into the second and third. But that's all we got for this video. If you like it, make sure to like the video, and also make sure to subscribe to the channel if you want to see more draft content, more of these players down the line, as well as some free agency stuff that we have come up here in just 2 days. It's going to be very exciting for these times, so you don't want to miss it. Make sure to subscribe. Hope you liked the video. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.